So the NIL theater is very depressing for USC fans, just because Oregon and we're now a Big Ten competitor with Ohio State. Oregon and Ohio State have both cleaned USC's clock, so it's not a happy subject for USC fans. So let's change to a happy subject. And USC fans, have not been discussing this in the chats in college football because this is a relatively new thing, and I think it's gone under the radar. Let's put it front and center now. There was a proposal approved on April 19th. All right, and it hasn't gotten a ton of coverage, but I've seen some stories recently. That's why I'm talking about it tonight here at the Voice of College Football. There was a proposal that was approved for direct helmet to player communication for the 2024 season. So one player on the field can have direct communication. So obviously on offense, that's going to be the quarterback. On defense, it's either going to be like the Mike linebacker or the strong safety. So one player gets helmet communication. And so to me, if you're a USC fan, you were looking for some vein of optimism, some reason to think, USC could actually achieve more in 2024 than a lot of the pundits are expecting, than what the conventional wisdom generally says. This is it, right? Because now you have Lincoln Riley, the quarterback whisperer, being able to quite generally talk into Miller Moss's ear before the snap. I mean, now that is a big advantage. If you have a head coach who is an offensive genius, brilliant tactician, brilliant play designer, and he can talk to a quarterback through the helmet before a snap, that is having a leg up on the competition. And I noted, Mark, I saw this in conjunction with some of the stories I've picked up about helmet communication over the past few days. Hugh Freeze at Auburn did not upgrade in the portal from Peyton Thorne because he felt that the helmet communication would enable him to max out Peyton Thorne. So he didn't want to spend several hundred extra $1,000s for an upgrade because he felt that, hey, I'm Hugh Freeze. I'm good at what I do. With helmet communication, I can make Peyton Thorne an elite SEC quarterback. And I'm not going to say that Hugh Freeze is wrong, because Hugh Freeze he's achieved a lot in this business, cast his personal life to the side. He's a really good coach between the painted lines on Saturdays. And so if a coach knows he's good and can maximize the quarterback that he has, just one part of this discussion is that is going to affect NIL investments and the spending that coaching staffs and schools consider. But putting that to the side, if you have a coach who is a big league play caller, a big league play designer, and you now get this technology for helmet communication with your quarterback before the snap, that is a unique and profound advantage. And it's going to be very interesting to see if all of the offensive geniuses in college football do better than defense first coaches, or perhaps, if not necessarily specialist coaches, CEO type coaches, in the Mac Brown vein, not so much associated with one side of the ball, but they're just like program managers and overseers who try to hire elite coordinators. Will the coaches that are offense first deliver better results in this first year of helmet communication in college football? That is a very interesting subject to tackle.
And one other situation I think is going to help and can be very helpful for coaches and quarterbacks. You also have a situation with so Miller has been in the program, right? We talked about it ad nauseum, three springs, 2 full seasons in Riley's system. But a guy like Maiava, let's just say Miller gets hurt. Maiava has to come in. Now you have Riley in the year. Now he's not, he's a true sophomore, but he got a lot of starts, right? Is he a true sophomore or is he a redshirt sophomore? Either way, he's a young quarterback, got a lot of starts at UNLV last year, but doesn't really know Riley's system very well, like you're just talking about. Allowing him to be in the ear of Maiava would be huge for USC, but then it's also huge for any other coaches out there USC is going to play with a first-year quarterback. There's a lot of them out there, and that is going to help them. Because the one thing about Miller, I think, is the fact that he knows this offense in and out. You know what I mean? There will be things that the coaching staff and that Riley see that he's going to be able to get in the ear of Miller. But I think this also really helps out any coach out there that has a first, like for instance, I was talking to the Nebraska guys today. What about a situation where, let's say, Dylan Raiola at Nebraska comes into the Coliseum, and you have the coach's ability to get in the ear of Raiola as a young quarterback starting for Nebraska. I think these are also advantages that we're going to see if this all comes to be the way I think it's going to come together.
Well, Tim, you raise a really good point. That is this going to make freshmen specifically and underclassmen generally a lot more effective? And will that mean that coaches are going to be playing underclassmen a lot more because they can give them that quick little word of guidance before a snap, and they don't have to be quite as consumed with, oh, we need a veteran who's experienced. Now that you have this direct link with your quarterback, does that mean we're going to see, as a general trend, coaches turning to freshmen and underclassmen and being less hesitant to trust younger guys now that they have this helmet technology they can use? It's a really interesting
I think I remember somewhere in there though that the communication cuts out at a certain point in the play clock.
15 seconds on the play clock. But to me, if you get, Lincoln Riley, Hugh Freeze, these other smart coaches, like they are going to do specific things within this framework that will allow them to maximize this advantage. Like they're not gonna say, oh, well, I can't really do much about it. They're gonna structure their game management in ways that they are going to have more influence, not less. Like you'll see USC snap the ball with 17 seconds on the play clock.
That's what I was going to bring up. I think it's going to speed the game up. It's going to speed it. And then guess what's going to happen, Matt?
If the communication cuts out at 15 seconds on the play clock, then you snap the ball before 15 seconds on the play clock.
And then they'll move it up to 20.
There are workarounds here.
And they'll move it to, and then the rules committee will move it to 20, and then it'll move it to 25. Yeah, so it's gonna, you're gonna see that window shrink a little bit. But there's gonna be that. That's why we have the world of new world of NIL. We're gonna have to see how the coaches get ahead of the curve and use this with the helmet communication. I totally agree with you.
Do we think that the only reason that rule stands at 15 seconds and not all the way down to 0 is because of the speed of the game, trying to encourage coaches to?
I think it's just to get the plays called in without having maybe a guy go in motion, and then you have maybe someone up in the booth calling down in order to tell them, okay, check that. There could be a bunch of reasons why they're doing it.
To me, I mean, I don't know this. I'm speculating along with everyone else, but to me, the idea of cutting off the helmet communication at 15 seconds on the play clock is, well, the quarterback has to figure out a few things, right? You can't have the coach being able to fully assess all the shifts in alignment, formation. You're basically just allowing the coach to be on the field before every play in a sense. And so you still have to allow for the quarterback has to go through and
make the reads,
process things.
Well, I don't have an issue with it either way, because even if you give the coach that extra 15 seconds, then you're also allowing for the opportunity for confusion. And some of these mad scientist type offensive minds are going to try to change 18 things in the last 15 seconds, and they'll do nothing but confuse their quarterback and make it even more difficult. So,
well, now hold on. My question is, we got a couple of the Michigan guys in the crowd right now. So how long does it take the University of Michigan to start hacking the signals and stealing the signals from the headsets? Sorry, Moose. I had to do it. I'm sorry. Sorry for that.
It all depends on how much Connor Stalions left behind.
No.
Did he leave his database? Are all the trade secrets still left?
I finally got Moose to come back to the show, and now he's going to leave because I had opened my mouth up. I know he is now. But anyway, So it'll be interesting. I like that, Matt. I mean, it's gonna be a fun cat and mouse game. And then as Clint Moses said, that they're also doing the iPads on the sidelines as well. That's good. Probably was that. So it's like the NFL. Isn't the NFL doing that? So you can now what you can't get film, but you can get shots. Is that correct? You can't have live motion, but you can get pictures of alignments.
That's correct. Something like that. It's something in that vein. Yes. Okay, and so Trojan Fight brings up, how can they enforce this? It's going to be a third party. So like much as, there's a scoreboard operator, a clock operator, I'm sure that there's just going to be a guy who is in charge of that one thing as part of the game management team. It's going to be a neutral third party. Not necessarily, they didn't say official. It's like you're not going to have a guy in zebra stripes in the press box, but it will be like a designated game management personnel guy who will cut the audio at 15 seconds on the play clock or when the ball is snapped.
Michigan fans, I was just kidding. I'm just kidding. Thank you for being here. It's just my little my bitterness. You guys enjoy your national championship. I'm not taking anything away. It was just my little joke. Just my little joke.
We'll see when it all comes to light. I don't know. I'm making no predictions. If I did have a lean one way or the other, I don't think it's going to come to much. I think it's pretty much been vetted out for the most part. But
they won those playoffs with no sign stealing. Give them the title, they win.
Not talking about that. Has nothing to do with it.
What?
We have penalties and infractions all over the place that had nothing to do with what was going on the field at the time of the win that enabled the champion, that was the actual championship game. But if they had been cheating, if you're telling me if they had been cheating for 3 years, we know Connor Stallions was cheating for 3 years. That can't be debated. So anybody who debates that is just a fool, or they're a delusional Michigan fan that refuses to cope with the truth. So he was cheating. Now, how widespread that was throughout the coaching staff, known by Harbaugh, all those things, those are the things that need to be brought to light. But if this is widespread and it's known by the entire coaching staff and by Harbaugh.
Okay, I didn't know. I don't really follow it that closely, but if that's what the weeds are going to be, yeah. Well, I mean, USC should have known that some felon who wanted to start up a new marketing agency was giving the Bush family free rent down in San Diego over 100 miles away. I mean, obviously they should lose their title then. I'm just kidding. Again, sorry, dude, they're never going to come back, you guys. The Michigan fans are gone for good now. I'm sorry, Michigan fans. I can't shut up. Yes, Matt, take over for a little bit.
I don't have anything to add because I don't know how you can add anything to that.
No, but I mean, well, again, if what you're saying, I'm just saying, I don't know the points you brought up just now, Mark, but I'm saying as far as they won, those the games account for the playoffs. I'm really against punishing the players. I mean, if there's widespread cheating by the coaches, that's a whole different story. But I mean, for a couple, what's come out about the Stallion stuff that happened during the season earlier in the year that had nothing to do with them winning that championship in that playoff. I'm kind of leaning towards. I hate the NCAA, so I don't care. I mean, at this point, I just want them. I don't want any more kids losing championships. I mean, I'm very biased, so there you go. It was decided on the field. That's how I look at it.
Oh, it was decided on the field. Yes, it was. But I'm still trying to figure out what the disconnect is between winning games earlier in the season and making it to the championship. Those seem to be very connected to me.